The pleasure of leading our franchise development team here at HomeWell. And as you can see, we have a couple of our fran dev directors here. Samantha, our end all be all when it comes to everything franchise development here as well. So excited to spend a little bit of time with everybody today. Today, we're going to have a slideshow, but it's just going to be questions. I think as everybody is kind of either new in the education process with us or kind of going through that education process with us, we see some big themes and questions that people ask. So hence our frequently asked questions webinar is always a great spot to kind of walk through those. I'm going to give you kind of the high level on what most candidates really ask as they go through that development process and education process with us. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We won't go super deep into any one of them. I'll talk pretty high level. Just as a reminder, if you guys have any questions, throw them in the Q&A chat box. If for some reason you don't get a chance to remember that question you were going to ask today and you have a follow-up, feel free to reach out to your development director, Sam, myself, anyone here at HomeWell. We'll be happy to try to answer that as best as we can. So with that, I will hit the old share button and we will kind of go from there. Awesome. Give me a thumbs up. Make sure that screen looks okay. Awesome. Thank you, guys. So let's just jump right in. Today, again, we're going to talk about some common concerns and questions that we get asked very frequently here at HomeWell about not only the home care industry, but exactly what our agency is doing each and every day. So pretty simple. We'll start with kind of why home care. I think everybody on the call, I recognize a lot of names on the call. You understand why we're here. We know that 12,000 people turn 65 every single day. You heard that right, 12,000. It's not the 10,000 you heard or 9,000. It's 12,000. It's a lot of people. This industry is booming, and we continue to see that year in, year out. And we're going to see that for the next 15 to 20 years. We all read the stats of how our aging population needs help. Well, more importantly, they need help. They want to stay in their homes, and that's the services we provide. It's amazing to hear our franchise owners talk about the number of calls they get because a loved one doesn't want to move into that nursing home, isn't quite ready to bridge that gap of needing that, but they want to stay home, but they just can't do it by themselves anymore. There's over $522 billion spent in informal care for aging people. That's a huge number, and that's what we get to be a part of. So why home health care and why this industry? A couple of reasons that jump out to me. One, a booming industry. When you look at the compound annual growth rate of the industry, it's in double digits. When you look at how these services are being delivered, it's increasing the number of people that are needing it. The other big reason is technology. And now we talk a lot about technology, but this is a people business. Technology cannot replace a person in this industry. So you're not worried about the Amazons of the world or the Elon Musks of the world creating something that's going to replace what we do. And I think that's why people have been and will continue to be attracted to this industry, is because it can't be bought online. It is still a people business, and we foresee that continuing to happen in the foreseeable future. So do you need to have healthcare experience? The answer is simply no. 48% of our ownership group here does not have healthcare experience, nor have they ever actually ran a business. That's why we're here. You're partnering with a franchise because we have the expertise, we have the knowledge, and we know how to teach, train, and educate you on the operations of a home care business. Few things that we ask out of you is to show up, to be coachable, to be engaged, and to be all in, right? Those are the things that we want out of you. So if you don't have that healthcare experience, it's something that is okay. It's great by us. We can teach you and train you on all of that. Our learning management platform that we have is unbelievable as a resource in helping you really get up to speed on that. And our education team is top notch when it comes to being able to provide you the information to feel confident when you launch your home care industry. How long does it take to open? It really depends on what state that you're in. Some states that maybe do not have a license requirement, you can get open in as quick as 3 to 4 months. Some states that do require you to have a license could take anywhere from 6 to 12 months, depending on the licensure process. We have a list of the 33 states that require a license, and each one of them varies on how long it takes. On average, we're seeing anywhere from that 4 to 6 month mark from when you sign your franchise agreement to get your doors open is typically where we see a lot of people, but it really does depend on the state. If you're in a state with one of those licensure that requirements, we're going to help you through that process. We're going to make sure that you have what you need in order to submit that license right the first time. And so you can get that process underway and expedite that so you can get your agency doors open. Again, it's in our best interest to want to get your doors open as soon as you can, but we want to do it the right way. We want to ensure that your training goes well, that you have the information you need, you feel confident that you're ready to open and you're excited to get that first client in the door. But again, there's very specific steps we want to take in order to do that. So that how long does it open take really depends on your state and then how quickly you are moving through the process. Our opening services team is going to work with you step by step to make sure that you're ready for that opening date. And when you are, it's off to the races. How much does it cost? So this is in our franchise disclosure document under item 7 that talks about our franchise fees and what it takes, our startup fees. On average, we see that our investment in this industry is right around $150,000 to $200,000 from when you sign your franchise agreement all the way through your openings and operating expenses. In the item 7, it talks about a couple of things. It talks about our initial franchise fee of $49,500 with a $5,000 training fee. So our estimated investment, according to our item 7, is $52,500 to $225,000. Again, that's going to cover all your office space, your compliance fees. A lot of those startup costs are built in there. If you haven't had a chance to look at our franchise disclosure document, please get with one of our development directors, and we can talk you through that in the process in order to secure that. And just as a side note, a lot of you might know this already, but we have 2 really different ownership options here at HomeWell. The first traditional path is paying that franchise fee of $49,500 along with the training fee of $5,000. The second path is to use that $49,500 and put it back into your business with going with our zero franchise fee option. That is going to entail you pay a higher royalty of 10% versus 5%. Up until a predetermined amount of revenue, and then that money that royalty fee will drop back down to 5% for the remainder of your term. Again, we want to give people the opportunity to get into this business that have the passion, the motivation, and the desire to help within their community, and that's really what we're about. So we want to be flexible, but we also want to be conscious that hey, it does take money to start a business. We want to make sure you're financially ready to go in order to scale and grow your agency along with us. This is a question we get all the time. Hey, I'm working a full-time job. I want to continue to work that full-time job and run our agency. Guys, I'm going to tell you it's really hard. This business requires you to be all in. It really does. When you look at our successful owners and what our owners will tell you during validation calls is most of them are all in from day one. Why is that? You're just better equipped to run the business and do what's needed to do in order for it to succeed. Can it be run on a part-time basis? There are ways to do it, but what we traditionally see is that owners that go all in from day one, and I mean day one from when you open your agency. This isn't day one from when you sign your franchise agreement. Obviously, there's some caveats with that as well. So we're absolutely open to having that conversation. But I'm going to tell you that the most successful owners we have start running the business when their agency doors open, and they're all in. They have some great staff. They're building that culture. They're building that business model that allows them to work in that business and really grow the way they want to. And when you're distracted from maybe another job or other obligations, it gets hard to do that. So our honest opinion is, can you run it part-time? You can, but it's not the most efficient way. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to have that conversation. And what does that look like if you're not going to be all in? Because we want our owners to really, really understand what it takes to be successful and have the time to do that. This is a very high touch personal business, and that's why it's so important for our owners to be involved day one. And then after a while, hey, if it makes sense, your agency is growing and you want to bring in the right personnel in order to step back and do other things, perfectly fine. But those first 12 to 24 months are critical when starting any business, let alone a home care business. And we want to make sure that you can be set up for success for day one. Last thing I'd love to kind of dive into today is a question we get all the time is well, how do I get clients and caregivers? Obviously, two different buckets, but both equally important when growing and scaling a home care agency. So let's start with the client base. We have about 13 different revenue or different ways to go out and acquire clients. Michelle Cohn and Erica Ellers and our training team do a fantastic job during onboarding of training you of exactly where you're going to get your clients from. It could be from as simple as you telling your neighbor next door, you telling your friends and family, you sharing it on your social media pages that says, hey, I'm starting this agency, I'm here to help. You'd be amazed at how many of our agency owners simply take that route and they start getting clients by word of mouth. Another way is through referral sources. As I said, there's about 13 different referral sources we can look at and how to target each one specifically in order to grow your client base. We're going to teach you all of those tips and tricks through our onboarding process, through our sales and marketing courses that you will take. That's going to show you what content, what they're going to want to hear, who to go after, and how to do that in order to get those referrals to send you clients. Another way you can get clients is obviously digitally, right? Being online, being not only through social media, but also having that digital presence. You're going to get a website. People are going to look at your website. You're going to drive clients that way. There's also other sources, secondary referral sources called A Place for Mom or care.com, where those lead generators are going to send you referrals, and your job as an agency owner is to go out and close them. Again, a lot of different avenues in order to obtain clients, in order to have that revenue and start scaling your business. We're going to teach you each and every one of those and kind of figure out what makes the most sense to start with, and then what makes the most sense as you grow in order to capitalize on the opportunity within your territory. It's great to have clients. You need caregivers in order to support them. So how do we do that? The truth of the matter is, it's actually not that hard to get caregivers. The harder part is retaining them. So we focus a lot here at HomeWell on the retention of caregivers and your staff. And I say and your staff because they're as important as the caregivers. So a couple of different ways to think about on acquiring caregivers. You have your traditional methods, right, of Indeed.com, your online referral sources, the website that caregivers can apply to. We teach and train you exactly how to do that, how to interview, what to look for, and also, different ad posts that you can put out there through those different job boards. That's really the number one way that a lot of our agency owners get it. The second way that a lot of our agency owners, as they're growing and scaling, acquire caregivers is all about referral, word of mouth and referrals. I'll tell you what, you take care of your employees are going to take care of you. And this industry is no different. If you treat your caregivers right, you give them the right tools to be successful, you set them up for that success, they're going to tell their friends. And you're going to have people calling you saying, hey, my friend works for you. I'd love an opportunity to maybe work for you. Again, that's as you grow and scale. We want your agency to be the employer of choice in your neighborhood, in your territory. And we're going to teach you some tips and tricks on how to do that. First and foremost, it comes down to you as an agency owner of setting that culture, really understanding that this is a people business and you're not only serving your clients, but you're also serving your caregivers and your staff to ensure they have the tools to be ready and set up for success. So again, we focus a lot on the getting the caregivers in, but more importantly, we focus on how to keep the caregivers. So we have a really strong retention plan that we teach our owners to execute on in order to not only get the caregivers, but to keep them long term. We could talk 30 minutes on a whole topic of caregivers and clients, but as a big picture view, it's really balancing those two things that's going to help you be successful in this industry. And we're going to be alongside you in order to help you execute that, make sure you have the tools and resources, and more importantly, make sure you have the knowledge and the support in order to grow a great client base, along with growing a great staff in order to support those clients. As always, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to our team here at HomeWell. We're here to support you in your journey as you learn more about this space, how you can be successful in it, and how we can help you be successful through our tools, resources that we provide you as your franchisor of choice in the home care space. So thanks, everybody. I'll go ahead and stop sharing.